Philips Consulting. Philips Consulting is the largest and the most influential indigenous consulting firm in Nigeria and indeed in West Africa. He has over 14 years of experience in human capital management, in organizational development, in HR strategy formulation and implementation, in learning and in development, culture transformation and harmonization. He has experience in employee engagement, leadership development, HR project management, performance management, HR business partnering, talent acquisition, career advisory and planning, and evidence-based human rights. That's using metrics and analytics. He has successfully led and managed HR transformation and strategy execution projects for several multinationals, I dare to say, including the Penthouse Law. He has formulated, designed, and implemented smart initiatives which has helped organizations deliver on their business strategy and processes. He is a senior professional in Human Resources International and is a certified HR professional. He has a diploma in career advisory. He has an LLM in this. He has a doctorate in this. He has all those things. I don't want to continue to read all of those things, but it is important that I bring up our speakers today. He's going to be sharing thoughts with us for another 25 minutes, maybe max 30 minutes, and then I will be taking your questions. Your questions, you can feel free to drop in the chat room, like I said, and I will be taking the questions from the chat room and then giving it to the speaker at the right time. I need you to get yourselves ready. Say on your map, and say get set, and then at go, we'll be having the next voice you hear will be the voice of Joshua Ademoagu. Joshua, you're welcome to Penthouse Interactive Session.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. They're on mute.
All right. I'm on mute?
No, they are on
mute. Okay. All right. Okay. So I can go, right? I can. All right. I would want to say good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Mr. Charles Ajiboye, Esquire, for this invitation to speak with you. I mean, I'm really honored. You know, Charles is someone who I respect so much, and I really treasure and value our friendship. So thank you so much for inviting me. I mean, small boy like me. When we were reading all of that, I said, wow, okay, he's looking. So thank you very much. And I must say to everyone, right, it's such an honor to be speaking with you today. I'm going to say a few things, and I trust that you would be instructed and you would learn. You know, maybe by way of introduction, I would also mention that, you know, somewhere I usually sneak myself into the legal profession somehow because I have this master's in international law and diplomacy that I did in Unilag. So somehow when lawyers are talking, I say, well, I have a master's in something that sounds like law. And it's always good. I mean, if I had the choice to pick another career, maybe law would have been something I would explore. And the reason is very simple because, you know, lawyers are always taught to be very broad in the way they think. And I think that's always a very good thing in life. So thank you once more for inviting me. Thank you everyone for joining. So let me just go straight into the business of the day. And we're speaking about developing the mindset of law as a business. The very first thing I would like to say is to tell a story. It's a story of two animals, right? Two very popular animals that I am sure most of us would know. One is an animal called the sloth, S-L-O-T-H. Now that's where we get the word slothful from, or slothfulness from. There is actually an animal called the sloth. Now, for those of us who do not know. Now, the sloth is called the sloth because it's a very lazy animal. And that's why people who are lazy, they now call them slothful people. And the sloth is a very amazing creature, I tell you. You can Google it, you can see what the sloth looks like. Now, you see, the interesting thing about this animal called the sloth is that it spends about 15 to 20 hours every single day sleeping. That's the characteristics of the sloth. And the remaining 4 hours that the sloth is awake, it's doing one, it's eating grass, which is what it usually feeds on, and it's lounging somewhere, not doing anything active, and then procreating when it needs to, and then the sloth goes back to sleep. That is all the sloth does. Very, very lazy animal. Now, the interesting thing is that there is another animal that also sleeps about 18 to 20 hours every single day. However, this animal is very popular, and I'm sure when I mention the name of the animal, for those of us who are not very acquainted with what happens in the animal kingdom, will be shocked, because the animal is actually the lion. The lion sleeps about 18 to 20 hours every day too. You know, so when the lion is awake, the 4 hours it's awake, it's eating, is procreating, and just hanging around the forest. But isn't it interesting that the sloth and the lion both sleep about the same hours every single day, but one of them is called the king of the jungle. The other one, a lot of us do not even know the name of the animal. I mean, we heard it being used as a verb or something for people, but some of us are not even aware that that animal exists, you know? So what's the difference? Two animals living in the same forest. One is the king of the jungle. The other is certainly not. Both of them sleep about the same hours of every single day. The difference is their mindset. The difference is the mentality. The difference is what the lion does aside from eating, procreating when it is awake. That's the difference. The difference is in the way the lion thinks. Now, if you've ever gone to a zoo, and I think I did that some years back, if you've ever gone to a zoo, and in that particular zoo, you have a lion in a cage, I'm telling you, when you look, if you have the misfortune of looking at the lion right in the face, and the lion looks at you straight, I mean, eyeball to eyeball, I can assure you, you will almost pee in your pants, or you will take your face away. Why? Because there is a dread about the lion, right? There is a way the lion looks at you. And the truth is that what a lot of us do not also know is that the eyesight of the lion is not very fantastic. So it's beyond the eyesight, right? So when the lion looks at you, there is a way the lion thinks. When the lion wakes up, now for those 4 hours or so that the lion is awake, there is a majestic way the lion would walk around the jungle. The lion, I mean, no matter how hungry the lion is, the lion will never eat grass. It would always eat food. I mean, that's the lion. Why? Because that is the thinking of the lion. The mindset of the lion is the difference between it, the sloth, between the lion and every other animal, even the bigger animals, the giraffe, who are massively tall, elephants who are very massive in size. The difference is the way the lion thinks. The lion thinks as the king of the jungle. So they refer to the lion as the king of the jungle, right? So what am I trying to say? If we're talking about the mindset, you know, for the mindset of law, looking at law as a business, how do we develop that mindset? It's extremely important to first of all note that to succeed in any profession, whether it's a legal profession, whether it's regular business, whether it's, I mean, any profession, even in HR, in engineering, in any single profession, to succeed, the first mindset you must adopt and embrace very, very closely is the mindset of possibilities, right? Understanding that anything and just everything is possible. But it starts with a mindset. And you see, to attempt to do something without having the mindset to do that thing is to actually be setting yourself up for failure. And that's why a lot of people fail. Now, you know, I mean, just looking at it, I mean, I discovered at a very young age that people fail exams in school. You know, when you go into a classroom, you're about to write an exam, a lot of people fail the exam before they even start writing the exam. It is the thinking, the way they think. So you walk into the exam with a failure mentality. You see the questions, when the question starts looking like Greek to you and Latin, and the person will say, you see, I knew it. I just knew it. Mindset. Somebody else sits down, looks at it. I have a friend. Her name is Duni. Duni finished with, I mean, when she was from secondary school, she finished with 9 A1s. That's Duni. And of course, she finished as one of the best medical graduating students from UI when she was finishing. I mean, very smart lady. So one day I asked Duni, I said, Duni, do you ever get into the exam hall and look at the question and it starts looking very vague, as if you do not know? I mean, it doesn't tally with what you read. And Duni said, absolutely yes. I said, wow. So you experienced that too? She said, yes. I said, so what do you do? She said, the first thing I tell myself is that, well, it was a human being that said these questions. I cannot fail. I am Duni, that I will pass this exam and I will pass very well. She says, once she says that and starts to tell herself that, what would always happen is that, like a flow, the tap just gets open. And she begins to say, okay, this is what they mean by this question. And she just begins to understand whatever was written before her. And that's the same thing about life, right? Approaching life with that possibility mindset. And so it's important to note that to succeed and to see law as a business, to see law beyond, that humanitarian profession where you just, I'm defending people, defending the rights of people, helping people to stay either out of jail or out of prison, people, from police harassment and all of that. But seeing it as a business, the first thing to do is to develop a mindset that tallies with that. And I must tell you this, your life would always go in the direction of your mindset. Never forget that. Your life would always go in the direction of your mindset. So what is your mindset? And this is very important. And this is where people miss it. So I think it's important to mention this. Your mindset is not what you think about. Your mindset is not what you think about. Your mindset is how you think about the things you think about. Your mindset is your how of thinking, not your what of thinking. Your mindset is your how. How you think, how you see life, how you think about things, how everything that enters into your mind, how it is interpreted. That is your mindset. And this is the tragedy. The tragedy is that we grow up, most of us that grew up in Africa, there is a way that Africans think about life. So there is a very high temptation that you begin to approach life with a lot of risk averseness. And it's not because you do not want to succeed, you desire to succeed, but there is a mindset that is diametrically opposed to becoming successful. And you sustain that mindset without knowing because you developed that mindset as you grew up. Now, let me tell you a story that one of our mentors usually tell, right? I call it the story of everybody. I've grown to call it that. Now, when a baby is born, now they will tell you, John Locke, the very popular guy in philosophy, will tell you that when a baby is born, this baby is born tabula rasa. I'm sure most of us that are legal people would know this is Latin, right? And Latin tabula rasa means born as an empty slate. That means a baby is born, and in the mind of this baby, there is really nothing, right? So all the baby is born with is the instinct of where the mouth is. So of course knows where to put the hand. Even when the baby is seeing his lights, the baby knows exactly where the mouth is, So with those kinds of instincts, yeah. But in the mind of the baby, it's like a blank slate. There is nothing. Now, 1 microsecond after that baby is born, this baby becomes a victim, right? A victim of what? A victim of the custodians of the mind of this baby. Meaning that if the people around this baby are smart people, they'll begin to teach this baby how to live a smart life. If the people around this baby are foolish people, forgive me, they'll begin to teach this baby how to live a foolish life. Then this baby begins to observe, watch TV, watch people, and begin to form what we'll call his or her preferences about life. So begin to tell you, well, I like this, I don't like this. So let me give you an example. When we have 2 boys, myself and my wife, I'm a wonderful woman, and we have these 2 boys, Joshua and Jeremy, yeah? Yeah, somebody will say Joshua, yes, Joshua and Jeremy. Now, and the age difference between Joshua and Jeremy is about a year or so. So, you could call them twins because they're almost the same height at the moment. Now, when we gave birth to Jeremy, and they were 2, and they were both growing up, for the sake of ease, whenever their mom goes to the market to buy anything for both of them, you know, i.e. sponge case, i.e. slippers, i.e. Sponge itself, i.e. towels. The mom will buy the same thing and just buy one green, the other blue. I mean, just simply to make life easy for herself, right? So that we can identify who owns what. And then she gives the blue to Joshua and gives the green to Jeremy. And she did that over and over again. Now, one day, I was asking Joshua, I said, Joshua, what's your best color? Joshua said, blue. I said, really? Jeremy, what's your favorite color? Jeremy said, green. And I laughed. And I said, well, your mom has programmed you to like blue and like green. And it's amazing. So till today, you bring in anything into the house, two things, same thing, same weight, same size, same, everything the same. The only difference is one is green, one is blue. And you walk into the house without saying a word. Joshua will say the blue is mine. Jeremy will say the green is mine. It's just normal. I mean, the mom has sorted out everything from the beginning. Now, what is amazing? How did they choose? Of course, they can grow up later and for different reasons choose another color as their favorite. But for now, my favorite is blue. His favorite is green. I mean, it's that simple. But what happened to them? As they were growing up, their mom programmed them to like these colors, isn't it? I mean, that's pretty much what happened. Now, if I were to ask you today, who told you that pink is a female color? I mean, we've been programmed to think that way. Who told us black is a bad color? You know, people associate black. You see, I can see one of the participants say, of course it is. But the truth is, who told us? I mean, we've been programmed to believe that these things, this is what it means. This is what black means. This is what, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. And we've been programmed to think so. But you know, it's amazing that all of these things are things that we were taught. And then when preferences grow so deep, as people grow up, after a while, those preferences become prejudices. People are willing to die for it. So for example, you might find a lady who is not married today and you ask, why are you not married? The lady will say, well, I'm waiting for a tall, dark, and handsome guy to get married to. Then I wonder, what is the hope for people like us that are vertically challenged? You know, thank God my wife married me. You know, it's amazing. And why? Because as they were growing up, knowingly or unknowingly, somebody told them that the accurate picture of the kind of guy to get married to as a lady is a tall, dark, and handsome guy. They read a lot of news and boons and baboons, you know, and they said that is what it is. What am I trying to say? Every single mindset that you have right now was developed. And if that mindset was developed, it also means that that mindset can change. You can change that mindset. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And you know, sadly, a lot of us in this part of the world grow up developing a mindset that is averse to seeing the things we do as business. We grow up with the mindset of security, you know, and that's why, well, to get a job is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It can be a leverage. And that's what it is. Every job is a leverage, understanding it that way. But you see, transitioning into seeing what you do, especially for those of us in the service industry. I'm in the service industry too. Anybody in the legal field is also in the service industry. But going beyond seeing what you do as just, you know, something I would do pro bono or is humanitarian, but seeing it as a business, because a business is anything that adds value to society in exchange for money. Never forget that. A business is anything that adds value to society in exchange for money. And as a lawyer, what are you selling? You are selling your knowledge. You are selling your intelligence. So you go to school for 6 years, go to bar, go to law school, then you are called to bar, and all of that happens. And for some of us, you might have even gone ahead to get a master's in an aspect of law. You know, you get into a particular law firm and you begin to learn, you're practicing and all of that. But the truth is that you must begin to see it as a business and not just see it as something you do to help and bless people. And it's a good thing. You see, one of our mentors used to say this, right? That it is he that is well that can donate blood. Never forget that. It's he that is well that can donate blood. You see, if you are ever going to multiply your influence, right? there are certain levels of financial freedom that you must experience yourself, right? If you're ever going to multiply your influence, there are certain levels of financial freedom you must experience yourself. And until you begin to see law and what you do as a business, then you discover that there's very little you can attain. But it starts with the mindset. The mindset of understanding that, you know what I have is valuable and I can exchange this for financial gain. So it's a mindset. It's a mindset. Now, I tell you another story. Now, in the tropical forest of South America, there is a very popular monkey. They call the monkey the spider monkey. Now, the spider monkey is very small, very fast, and very sweet when you kill and you eat. Now, but you know the interesting thing? The interesting thing is that it is also very difficult to catch the spider monkey. Incredibly difficult to catch the spider monkey. I mean, people try with tranquilizer guns, with nets, with all manner. Very difficult to catch the spider monkey. But somebody discovered a very easy way that you could catch the spider monkey. And this was, I mean, if I tell you the strategy, you'll be shocked. All the person discovered was this. Get a bottle with a very thin neck and broad base, tie that bottle to a tree very tightly, then put a peanut inside the bottle and lure the spider monkey to come there. You will catch the spider monkey. Because all that will happen is that the spider monkey will dip its hand into that bottle because it's a small animal, right? Dip his hand into the bottle. And when the spider monkey sees you coming, the spider monkey will want to run away, but the spider monkey would not want to let go of the peanut and take its hand out and run. If the spider monkey lets go of the peanuts, the spider monkey will bring out its hand and run away. But in the thinking of the spider monkey, I can take the peanut and I can also run away. So the spider monkey will be struggling to get his hand out of the bottle with the peanut. And that's when the spider monkey will be caught. They tried it. It still works till today. So, meaning, what am I trying to say? Just like the spider monkey, until we let go of certain mindsets, all right, we can never really experience the true freedom that we desire to experience. And that's very key and very important, very important. Because like I said, where your mindset goes, that is where your life would go. Your life would always follow your mindset. Your mindset would always create the realities of your life. Anytime you are trying to change the realities of your life, the very first place to look at is your mindset. And you know, the interesting thing is that just like a computer system, right? Your mindset is like a program. And you see, you know, there are certain things we can never get from a computer system. You cannot come to a computer system that you've not installed Microsoft Office on and demand for Microsoft Office to appear, and it would appear. It will never appear. The only reason why you go to your system today and you type Microsoft Word and something pops up is because you installed it on it. That's how the mind is. The mind is like the system. Is whatever you've installed in your system that you would experience, all right? Is whatever mindset you have installed in your life that you would draw out of. And so what it means is that the very first place to always look at is your mindset, is your mindset, is your mindset. So it's important to develop the kind of mindset that sees law as a business and helps you to succeed in the business of law. So let me conclude by giving you some key points, right? So how do you develop a mindset of seeing law as a business? Number one, and please don't forget this, write it down. Number one is that you must find out the area of law that you are passionate about. And this is very important. And let me tell you why I say that. Because you would never succeed in anything you are not passionate about. Because it is not enough to have a mindset The second thing you must also have to succeed is a skill set. So you must have the mindset, then you must have the skill set. But to be able to drive yourself to attain and get all the necessary skill sets, and to be able to drive yourself to change the prevailing mindset that you have, you must be passionate about that thing. So the first thing is to identify what area of law you are passionate about. I understand that there are different areas of law. There's maritime law, corporate law, lots of areas of law. I'm sure you guys will even know a lot more than me. And when you identify it, then the second thing you begin to do is that you begin to ask yourself, how do I make money from this area of law? And I can almost assure you that one of the things that you're going to experience is that you will begin to discover that you need to develop yourself in that area that you are passionate about. Now, let me say this. And amazingly, I was having a meeting earlier this afternoon, and in my conversation with my team members, I told them that it's amazing that a lot of people do not know that the very first people that started to explore the idea of inventing the aircraft were not Orville and Wilbur Wright. They are the ones we know today, but the truth is they were not the first people. As a matter of fact, Orville and Wilbur Wright were operating against all odds. And this is what I mean. A lot of people do not know that some years before they invented the aircraft, two things had happened. This was 1901. Some very smart scientists, smart physicists had gathered together, and they came up in a meeting in London, and they came up with two postulations. Number one, that it was impossible for any object to move at the speed of 36 miles per hour. We know that there are cars that are beating that now. Even I'm sure our cars even do that. The second postulation they came up with was that it was impossible for any of the objects to fly. Two things they came up with as postulations, discoveries from thinking, interacting mentally, and all of that. Two things. It was impossible for any object that was to move at the speed of 36 miles per hour. It was impossible for any of the object to fly. Then, to make matters worse, Orville and Wilbur Wright's father had visited a college professor in his house, and they were in a conversation. And Orville and Wilbur Wright's father mentioned to this college professor that, you know, I believe that everything that is going to be invented, and this was in the very early 19th century, 1901 thereabout. He says, I believe everything that is going to be invented has already been invented. And it's amazing. The college professor looked at him and said, no, I don't think so. I think there are some things that will still be invented. Then Orville and Wilbur Wright's father said, what do you mean? Can you give me an example? And this college professor, without even knowing that Orville and Wilbur Wright's father were already exploring this, said, you know, I think that very soon we'll be able to fly. And Orville and Wilbur Wright's father looked at the guy and said, no, that's impossible. We are not angels. We can't fly. But unknown to him, his two sons were working on an idea that would make man be able to fly. And you know, these two guys, of course, invented the aircraft, and we know them today. But there is another guy by the name Langley. Langley had the support of the American government. He was being funded by the American government to create or invent the aircraft. But the day he heard that Orville and Wilbur Wright had invented the aircraft at Kitty Hawk, that was the day he left the lab and never did anything about that idea anymore. What's the difference? Passion. Because this guy, yes, they invented the aircraft, but he could have done some things more. I mean, he could have made the aircraft faster. He could have done something. Of course, the aircraft we have today was not what they invented years back, right? Lots of technological advancement have happened. He could have just sat down and done, but you know what? The difference was he lacked passion. These other guys were passionate. So it's important that you identify an area you are passionate about in law. They usually say jack of all trades, master of what? None. So identify that area. Become very good at that area, which means go to school in that area. Develop yourself in that area. Go and learn from the best. Get a mentor in that area. Very important. Get a mentor in that area. Develop yourself in that area, right? and increase your value in that area. And that's why I said, begin to think. Number two, begin to think about how to translate your passion in this area into money. Very important. Begin to think about it. And as you think about it, do the third thing, which I have alluded to earlier. The third thing is begin to develop yourself in that area. Look for who are the best people. And listen to me, in developing yourself, do not think locally. So yes, you can have a local mentor, but think about yourself in terms of who are the best people in this field globally, and then begin to read articles, study. Thank God for the internet. Rather than spending a lot of hours on Facebook, on all of that, those things, invest some time, valuable time, in developing yourself in that area. I'm telling you. So you become an authority in that area. And then remember, the more valuable you are, the more people will pay you. The more valuable you are, the more people will pay you. The easiest and the fastest way to increasing your earning ability, E-A-R-N-I-N-G, earning ability, is by increasing your learning ability, L-E-A-R-N-I-N-G. As a matter of fact, take away L from learning, and what do you have? Earning. Very important. Very important. You see, because, why am I saying this? Because the truth is that one of the fastest ways to change your mindset is by deliberately unlearning certain things you have learned. A man by the name Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be the person who cannot read or write. The illiterate of the 21st century is not the person who cannot read or write, but the person who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. I'm telling you.
Wow. Wow.
That's the illiterate of the 21st century. The person who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And you know the interesting thing? With COVID-19 happening, I tell you, rather than seeing COVID-19 as a problem, I see it as an opportunity. Because what has happened to the world is that equilibrium has changed, right? Yeah, so what has happened right now is that, I mean, with the coming of the COVID-19 pandemic, people are now open to receiving knowledge. One of the things that we did in my firm, Phillips Consulting, was to engage lawyers to understand, okay, what are the implications of this and all of that, because it is important to understand what the legal implications are before you take certain steps, right, in different fields. So this has created sort of an equilibrium. So leverage it. I see it as a leveraging opportunity. And the truth of the matter is that it is only that are visionary that will take advantage of it. Yeah? So I've said the first one, look for an area you're passionate about. Number two, think about how to what? Convert this passion into money, right? As you are thinking about it, the third thing you must start to do is to begin to learn. School yourself in this area of passion. School yourself in this area of passion. Learn from a mentor, get a mentor, right? Someone said that if I have seen any further, it's by standing on the shoulders of those that have gone ahead of me. So get a mentor and learn and learn. And the last thing I would say as I conclude is that make sure that you get a mentor who has actually run law as a business. Because understanding the law profession in itself is one thing. When you are running it as a business is another thing. It's a different ballgame. Don't assume you know. Look for somebody. For example, I mean, the person who is the convener of this meeting, Mr. Ajiboye, he's running law as a business. Sit with him and find out, okay, he will tell you about how to hire staff, how to hire lawyers, all of those dynamics, the financial aspect of it, and all of that. I mean, you will learn. And it's amazing. I will round up by saying one advice from a mentor can save you 10 years of labor. It is not true. This is the best teacher. You can actually learn from a mentor and save yourself a lot of stress, a lot of hassle, and a lot of heartache. As you do these things, what would happen is that your mindset will begin to change, and then you discover that you are on the path to success. Thank you very much. Open for questions, right?
Thank you very, very much, Joshua. I'm so excited. Thank you very much. You went on and on and on and on. You were answering questions that we have not asked. So
really? Okay.
It's also beautiful because you have also reduced the time we'll spend on the questions since you have answered them. I have 3 questions, just in case anybody doesn't have. I hope you are able to take those questions before our time is up. But I know that you have to join another session somewhere by 5, so I'm trying to see how we can keep to that time. So the first question I have is this thing that I've had some of my younger friends still ask me. And I'm sure you have experienced it because you are also in the service industry. So somebody wakes up one day and calls me and says, hey, hello, Charles. You see, there's this matter that happened in my office and this and this and this. What do you think I should do? Now, the person is not asking me that question because I'm Charles. The person is asking me that question because I'm a lawyer. What the person is doing actually is taking my services for free. Will having a mindset that my business is my law practice. So it means that when you call me, you are calling me to take away the television from my television store. How am I supposed to manage those relationships, very close relationships? How am I supposed to manage them with this mindset that law is a business? That's question 1. But I would like you to take it together with a second question too, which is the part whereby a lot of lawyers are quite shy. You know, you'll be surprised that people are shy to ask for the money they deserve and for the money they truly want. Now, how do you overcome it? Because sometimes somebody comes, for example, is your friend's uncle, is your father's brother, is your neighbor on the street or in the estate, and then it gives you a particular brief. And then you are saying, well, whatever is fine, you know, and you know, some people, and this happens at every level, meaning young lawyers are guilty, much more senior lawyers are also guilty. How do you overcome, do I call it timidity or shyness in demanding for fees or asking to be paid, understanding that this is business? Because this does not happen to the Alaba guy who is selling television. Even if his uncle comes from the village and enters his store and he says, I like this 75-inch TV. And he's going to just say, uncle, that is 450,000 naira. That's what he's going to say. He's not going to say, uncle, take it. Anything you want to give me, you give me. So Joshua, can you quickly answer those 2 questions and then we'll continue?
Okay. I like the questions because it happens across board. It happens to even me as a HR professional. People come and they ask you HR questions and all of that. I think the first thing is this, right? It is number 1. I think we need to, and that's why I'm excited about this platform, right? And what we're discussing. So number 1 is to even understand that, okay, all these things I have learned and I am learning, right, from my experience from school and all of that, I can translate this into money. Mm-hmm. And thinking ahead, I know that, for example, lawyers manage company registration and people come to ask you and I say, oh yeah, go to CAC for me. How much is the exact amount, you know, all of those type of things. And they ask you to do the notary public, different things, right? Aside from even the advice, you know. So I think number 1 is to even determine and tell yourself that, you know what, okay, if somebody should, because I believe that sometimes why we do not even charge for those things is 2 things. Number 1 is because a lot of times we've not even processed that I can make money from this thing. So there's always the thought that, well, it is only when I'm in the office, I work, they pay me in the office, and so I make money. But if once I leave the office, I have an employee mentality, not a business owner mentality. So that's the thing. But forgetting that in the service industry, what happens is that you can actually be self-employed and be an employee at the same time, right? You can be those 2 things at the same time. So somebody comes to you and is asking for favors, understand that at that point, wear the cap of a self-employed person and already ask yourself, If somebody should come and should ask me, for example, and I'm just using this as a loose example, to help him or her register a business, how much am I going to charge? And those conversations you must have already had in your mind. So that when people are asking you, it is not at that point you are thinking about what to say or what not to say. Say, well, okay. And I say, oh, really? And you know, it's amazing. And as lawyers, we have this advantage, right? I think one of the things that makes it very easy, and maybe I would advise everyone to do this, right, is you can register a business even when it's a business name, isn't it? I think you can. And just have something which is like a conduit, a conduit for, for relating with people so that people can actually pay for this service. Excuse me. You know, people can actually pay for this service. So when somebody should ask you, I mean, let them know point blank that, oh, what you are asking me professionally, this is how much I'm going to charge. I'm going to give it to you at a discount. So you can already factor that in. And because of relationship, then the other thing is that, and I think it's third thing, you must also determine where are the people or who are the people I'm going to do this for free for. So it's not a bad thing to do something for free.
Joshua? Do you want to catch your breath?
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry. We are very careful so that
COVID-19
does not slip through the microphone into amongst all the participants. We need to be very careful and ensure that the social distancing is active, especially because we are sitting closely beside ourselves right on Zoom here. So we have to be very, very careful. Take your time and be fine. Immediately Joshua is done with these two questions, we will take those ones. I need to cough very well and ensure that COVID-19 does not spread on our interactive platform. Very, very important. Very, very important. Joshua, are you okay now? And we have been told to cough into our elbows like this.
Don't worry, I'll use sanitizer once I'm done. All right. So, I mean, I think it's very important that you think about it. I think it's not thinking ahead about it that it causes people to be shy, not know what to say, but just think about these things. That, okay, if people are going to ask me for advice, how much am I going to charge them? Even if it is 5K, you'll be surprised that the person will value what you're going to say. And anybody who tells you, why are you charging? That person is the enemy of your progress. Don't give the person the advice. If the person were go to a standard law firm, would the person be telling them to just sow this thing as a seed? No. So, I mean, it's just placing a premium on what you actually are giving and then charging. You can't, and it's okay to say, well, I'll give you this advice at a discount. Then, of course, already know the people that if they come to you, okay, I will do it for free. No problems. I will do it. But however, I will let them know that there is some time attached to that. So the fact that I did it for you for free doesn't mean it was actually free. You know, I gave it to you for free. So maintaining those differences and having those conversations, they are difficult conversations to have, but they are conversations you must have. I've had to have them with people over time. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joshua. That was fantastic. You know, someone sent me a private chat and said, those two questions are fundamental. I cannot wait to hear what he will say. And you know, this reminds me of something. When I was recently called to the bar, I have family members that were excited. They were excited that, oh, our son is now a lawyer. And so they came, very close people, my parents, and they came and they felt that, oh, so we need to draft an agreement for this property. Then there is a new tenant in this place. We need to do a KYC. Then we need to give quick notice to this person. And I said, okay, so am I now managing the property? For how much percentage am I going to get? And I remember the first of all said, we're the ones who sent you to school now. I said, you sent me to school, and then I do not come back home with the profits and the dividends of going to school. Will you be happy? Can we start this schooling from you so that it will be very easy for us to bill everybody? And you know, I was lucky. I was lucky with the fact that the family members I spoke to at some point understood and said, okay, let's take it that we are helping you. Can you start up all these things for us? And then they were paying me as though they had hired a lawyer to do the job. Of course, after a couple of years, it became shameful to ask them to continue to pay because well, the kind of monies that I was going to get from them were things I should actually be able to leave out to them. So it was understandable to say, oh, don't worry, don't just forget, don't worry, just keep it. But the point is, at the time it mattered the most to me as a younger lawyer, I was able to demand my fees even from the people that were close to me. And that was very, very helpful for me in the start of the profession. And even till today, those people now, when they come with bigger things, and I say, oh, Daddy, thank you very much. But this thing now, we are going to pay salaries. This one now just got married. That one is about to get married. Daddy, please, let's do this thing this way. I would have charged you X, Y, Z, but maybe you pay a discounted fee of this. And then they look at this, and then most of the time, I realize that they pay. So one of the things I have noticed, and I will pick from what Joshua said, is that when you are offering good value, people do not really mind paying for services. It's just a function of how much value are they really offering. There are some people that just want for free. Someone called me sometime last week and said, oh, Eco Electric has been giving us problems. I need to sue them. Can I come to your office? There is this letter. And after the person spoke, I said, no problem, you can come. But there is some kind of a consultancy fee that you are going to have to pay for us to have that meeting. I said, I thought it was after the meeting. I said, no, because coming for that meeting actually has implications for us. So if you are going to come for that meeting, so how much is the consultancy fee? Well, that was the last I heard of that conversation. So that meeting never held. But you see, that was beautiful for me because it saved me a lot of time. I was going to take a journey all the way from Lekki to come over to go and have that meeting. And then the person was not even willing to pay a dime. So one of the things I think we must achieve here is the fact that if you don't understand that law practice itself is a business, you are going to end up a broke lawyer. And that's why we find out that there are so many brilliant lawyers. And I know a lot of very brilliant lawyers that can quote all the latest precedents. They can quote all the statutes, all the legislations, but they are struggling to feed. They are struggling to pay salaries. They are struggling to pay rent. And that was why I played that song in the beginning for those of you that joined early. The song by Victor A.D. It says, waiting we gain. Waiting we gain when you understand all the laws. Waiting we gain when you know all the statutes and you know all the cases. Waiting we gain if you cannot feed. Waiting we gain if you are my husband or you are my wife and you cannot pay our bills. And that's why I'm excited about those of you that have chosen to be here, because we now need to be angry and understand that the packaging of our business, and some other episodes are going to come up that we're going to treat a lot of things. In fact, the video I played in the beginning, of which I shared the link to with some of us earlier on, you should watch that video. But there are 23 episodes to that video, and all 23 episodes I have already recorded. So I'm not about to record them. I have done that 23 episodes for you. And for the next 20 weeks or thereabout, I will be dropping one of it or two of it per week. You will need to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and probably click the notification button that is there. That's the bell that is there. Medesa is going to post the YouTube link now in the chat room. Copy it and keep it somewhere. Charles Ajiboye on YouTube. You need to click it and watch all those episodes, because what those episodes are designed to do is to ensure that you move from just being a brilliant lawyer, from being a smart lawyer, to being a comfortable lawyer, to being a profitable lawyer, to being a productive lawyer. And it's very, very important. Of what beauty is you wearing white on black if your white can only be described as it was white? If your shoes are only the whole glory of some kind of a leather material. And this is not to make a mockery of anybody, but it's just supposed to get you angry. So there's a question that is here, Joshua, and I wanted to take it before I lose it all, and just talking. And then somebody talked about the fact that specialization, when we were talking about it, and the person was saying specialization. What if you choose to take a niche area of law and say, oh, I'm a specialist in this, and then briefs are not coming in that area, and that's your passion, and that's what you like to do, and you have chosen to build capacity in that space, but briefs or clients are not coming in that area, you still end up being hungry. Or what do you think, Joshua?
Okay. I like that question. And why I like the question is because, so someone once told me that you definitely should have a passion, right? and you should pursue your passion, right? And you should develop your passion and do everything you need to do. However, you must understand that in the world of business, right, it is demand that you should follow. Because businesses are, I mean, when you start talking about the economics of business, there is demand and supply. I mean, and those two things are very important. So it is the demand that if you have the supply, people are demanding for something or a particular kind of service, then you supply that, you meet their demands, then you make money, that money comes to you. So when I mean specialize and pick a particular area of law, I am not saying that you should discountenance all the other areas of law. So for example, you have, let me just use this for example. You have somebody who specializes in maritime law. So this is the area where the person is passionate about. The person likes this and studies and does all of that. However, there are other areas of law that are bringing money to this person every day, either as an individual or as if the person has set up a firm. So of course, it is only wisdom for the person to also ensure that he or she develops some form of capacity to service all these other demands, to stay afloat, but be this person that people will know you for this. So let me give you an example of what I mean. If I mention Tiger Woods, you would mention golf, isn't it? Now, there are two very good soccer players that we know. For those of us that like soccer, we know Messi and Ronaldo, right? But it's amazing that in football or in soccer, you have people you have the goalkeeper, you have the defenders, you have the attackers or the midfielders, then you have the attackers, isn't it? So you can categorize them into goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, and attackers, isn't it? Now, Messi and Ronaldo are a lot of times somewhere between midfielders and attackers, always. They are not defenders, neither are they goalkeepers. Now, do you remember that every single year, a particular award is given out? And that award is said to be an award for the best footballer of the year. So between Messi and Ronaldo, except when we had one interruption by one fellow by the name Luka Modric, which I think they shouldn't have given. But, you know, they've been exchanging this award of being World Footballer of the Year. Now, who is a goalkeeper? A goalkeeper is a footballer. Who is a defender? A defender is a footballer. Who is a midfielder? A footballer. When they want to give them this award, they'll say they are the footballer of the year. They are not defenders. Neither are they goalkeepers. But they will call them what? The footballer of the year. Meaning they've become so good at being attackers or midfielders that they will forget when they are giving them the award, in quotes, that they are not defenders or goalkeepers. And they will say they are the best footballers in the world. So what am I trying to say? It is important to plow wide, but please always dig deep. Plow wide and dig deep. Plow wide and dig deep. So no other areas of law, especially the areas that are bringing in finances. And please master how to convert those areas into some business for you. But always know your area. The truth is that the way I've discovered life works is that somehow one day an opportunity will come in that area. And they'll be, at that point, they'll be looking for an authority in that particular area. And then you can raise up your hand and say, I'm an authority because, and when you are talking, they will respect you in that particular area. So plow wide, my people. But at the same time, make sure you have one or two areas. And it must not be one area. It can be one, two areas where you dig deep and you are an authority in that field. But you know about a lot of other things, so they can talk to you about all this. For example, in the HR space, there is recruitment, there is training, there is all manner. I know about all of those areas, and I do some of its work in a lot of those areas. But whenever they need somebody to come and talk about organization design, HR strategy, culture, and training, they would always come to me because they know that those are my areas of expertise. Because I have read so much in those areas, I have a lot of exposure and experience in those areas, so they know. So, I mean, so it's important that you plow wide, and you dig deep. So it is not when I say, become specialized in a particular area, I'm not saying specialize and ignore the other areas. That won't be a smart thing to do.
Thank you
right?
very much.
So that's what I mean.
And that is wisdom. That is wisdom. Because I hear a lot of people say, oh, specialization is what everybody is doing all over the world now. You need to take one area and stay, you will be hungry. You will be hungry. Waiting we get specialization. It's good for you to have a niche for yourself, to build a particular an area whereby you are known for, but understanding that your shop must be open, you must open your mind as well and allow opportunities that come around you, an opportunity also to be able to engage you. So when opportunities come, you don't block them. You allow yourself to be open to receive those opportunities and to maximize them. I don't think there's any other question. Anyways, we are also out of time. But I want us to remember all the wonderful things you have said here. And I've always said this, that every time we have these sessions, after you have been part of it, please do take out time to go and watch it again. That's when you get the very best of all the things we have said. And I really encourage you to do so. Do not take this information for granted. Joshua said something. He said, only those, I'm not quoting now, but he said, you must be able to learn, you must be able to unlearn, and you must be able to relearn. And that only comes when you are giving yourself with the right information and surrounding yourself with the right set of people. Your mindset is not just what you are thinking about. It is how you are thinking about it. So it's not about just being a lawyer. It's about how you are thinking about your practice as a lawyer. And you must remember that anything that adds value in exchange for money is business. So lawyers, we are adding value like no man's business. Every day, our job is saving lives. And if we are saving lives, then we ought to be profiting and making some kind of good living from what you are doing. If you are able to, if you want to ever multiply your influence, I'm taking this from Joshua's mouth. If you want to ever multiply your influence, if you want to ever multiply your relevance, one of the things you must do is you must build some level of financial power. There's no point knowing all the law. It doesn't help anybody. And that is the truth. You need all the skill sets, but beyond the skill set is also to understand that this skill set is supposed to also be able to fill your pocket. So I thank you all for your time. I've posted the links that you can use to follow up with me in the chat room. Make sure you visit the chat room. I'll be a bit slow in ending the meeting after now. Try as much as possible to visit the chat room. Joshua, I thank you very much for your time. You have been amazing. Thank you for making this a reality. And I pray that God will continue to bless you. And we wish you all the very best in what you are doing at Phillips Consult.